legs straight out in front of you. Bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. All right, now bring them up a little bit higher so the heels are directly behind your hips. Palms of the hands flat on the floor. And can you grab a hold of the ankles and bring the feet even closer to your hips? Beginners, this might be too much of a stretch, so just let your feet out a bit, but be sure that the toes are not out, that they are straight ahead. And then you're in the proper alignment to do a beginner bridge position. Now, press the arch out of your lower back, and if you can grab a hold of your ankles, do so. The knees are not strained apart, but apart. Pressing the arch out of the lower back, and roll your each vertebra starting at the lower back, the lumbar area, lifting the hips slowly. You can glance at your screen here if you need to. Just this is all a slow, smooth movement, and then you come as high as you can. Look over here, class. Tuck the shoulder blades, right, rotating the shoulders, and now hips up, tucking the shoulder blades towards one another, opening up the chest, and lift your hips up to the ceiling. Take a breath. Inhale and stretch across your chest, lifting the hips, tightening the seat, using the muscles of the back of your thighs. And now open up the wings so you feel each vertebra between the shoulder blades. And then lower each vertebra down, vertebra at a time, at a time, at a time, at a time. Good. All right, let your legs now straighten a bit, the feet flat on the floor, arms over your head. Inhale, exhale, raise arms, head, shoulders, and contract your abdominal muscle and sit up. In working with Matsya Asana, your fish position, the lungs open. That's why it is exceptionally fine posture for asthmatics or for bronchial problems, is this opening up of the chest. And therefore the bridge is a good exercise to help you to open up the chest, to get more energy to the chest area and between the shoulder blades. Another area of the fish is the thigh area, and that means to stretch the thighs. And that's hard in the beginning. Gosh, the thigh area seems so small, and around the knees, they hurt a little bit, the cartilage is stiff. So you work at it slowly. Sit on your heels. Even this is painful for some people because of the stiffness in the ankle. We'll sit on a pillow at first. Or you can just lower yourself gradually. And notice, you see I have the weight on my fingertips or my hand, it's just plenty, is that I just lower it enough to where it gets a little bit tough in the discomfort range, and I hold it there. And then in a few weeks' time, you lower your full weight to your ankle, and the ankles will unstiffen themselves. Good. Sit now on your ankle, and just this will help to start stretching out the thigh. Any pain at this point, stop. Okay, no pain, because this is a difficult posture to work yourself into. You must go slowly. If you're ready to move on further, bring now the hands behind you. The hands behind you, the fingertips are facing forward, and to continue with the stretch of your thighs, you simply lift now the buttock muscle off of your heels. You lift up and down. Let's work this. Inhale, come up. Good. Now lift your chest up a little bit higher, shoulder blades together, and you can feel this probably right in the knees, and sit down. Now this time you'll stretch as high as you can go. If you're in pain about that, you can lessen this stretch by knees well apart. Let's try it with knees well apart by a foot. All right, now lift the seat muscles now again off, and now lift the pelvic area forward. Lift the chest, the shoulder blades together, head back, take a breath. Good, and exhale, sit down. Then lifting the head. I'm sure it was much easier as soon as the knees were apart. Well, good, good. As you get more proficient, move the knees in. So let's try and move in now, an inch. Go back to where you were if it's painful. And if your knees are way high up, it will take a little bit of time, but no discouragement. All right, now moving the knees a little bit closer together, head straight. Remember the shoulder blades go together and open up. Inhaling now, lift the hips up, lifting the chest up, the head back, tighten the seat muscle and hold, and then lower your seat to the heels, lift the head, and then come up into a sitting position. Now, what part of you felt stretched, isolated? You tell me. The front of you, good, the front of your thighs, and then the front of the chest, and you could feel it between your shoulder blades. Fine. Excuse the frog. Working then into a much more intermediate posture is this fish position. It's an intermediate fish. Will you watch me now, please, as I go into it, and let me just work with some tips on this. In the beginning, start with the knees apart. The toes are touching, the heels are on the outside. Why don't you get yourself into that position now? Just sitting with the knees apart, the heels and the toes back here are touching. Then I come back onto one elbow and then into the other elbow. At this point, if your knees are up and you know you shouldn't go any further, you really mustn't. But then, all right, try that far. Try that far. You're onto your elbows. You're fine. It's okay. Now come out of the position. Elbows to hands and sit up. I want you to get comfortable. Hands to elbows to hands, all right? Then drop your head back and feel what that feels like too. Lifting the head, then come up again, come up again, come up again. Go through those different stages. Why do I ask you to drop your head back? Well, because sometimes you can feel nauseated in doing the fish, and that's sort of your natural vertigo. So you don't go any further, take a couple of deep breaths, and you'll get to the posture in a few weeks. You usually outgrow that feeling. Work then on to going a little bit further. You're all happy, you're stretched out, your body feels okay. Then move into a little bit further. Watch first, if you've never done it, onto your elbows and elbows. Then as you do, just like you do your beginner fish, you bring the elbows down a little bit, down towards your knees, placing the hands underneath your lower leg, and you lift yourself into this fish position. You inhale, breathe deeply. Exhale, come out of the position. You're onto your elbows, hands, and then come up into your sitting position. How's that? Want to try that with me now? Come on to elbows and elbow. And then slipping your elbows down towards your knees, clasp a hold of hands, then to the lower leg. And then you can pull yourself up, opening up the chest, weight on the elbows, and you inhale, breathe deeply. Exhale. Then come out of the position, up into your elbows, and then to your hands, and then legs straight out in front of you. Legs straight out in front of you. And let's just work the knees out a little bit, and work into the ankles, and bend the knees, and flex your feet, and reach, and bend, and reach. Both legs are straight out in front of you, heels on the floor. Knees pressed to the back of your floor. And bend your feet, bending the knees, and reach, and bend, sit straight, and reach, and bend, and reach. Now, a forward bend then is nice to do after this intermediate fish position. Bring the arms above the head, keep the head between the upper arms, reach up, stretch up. Good. Don't go any further. Flatten your feet. Press the inside of the back of the knees to the floor. Inhale, exhale, stretching forward, only going 4 inches, and hold, and hold, and hold.